Hello and welcome to my manga review. This is the second in my April manga reading vlog videos. I have, for whatever reason, been on a bit of a crazy binge this month, so I have read a lot. So instead of having a crazy big video at the end where I can't quite remember a bit about everything, I've decided to break it down. I'm roughly trying to do every 20 volumes or about weekly-ish. First video was, I think, the first 4 days and I'd read 20 something volumes. It has been over a week since that video and I've read about 25 to 30 volumes. I did slightly put off filming it because I've not felt very well and I still don't feel very well, but I'm never very well. And I need to suddenly do some traveling, so I was like, well, if I don't film it now, I'm going to do more reading and then I'll just have even more to talk about. So let's stop putting it off and I'll just talk about it. Yes, similar to the last one, I'm just going to go through everything I've read. If I don't really have too much to say, I'm going to skip over it. Sometimes that happens when you read one-off volumes and they're a short volume, there isn't too much story. And something I always forget to say is there will be spoilers. I will be spoiling what is in these volumes. Please use the timestamps to jump along so you don't get spoiled on volumes that you don't want spoilies on. Let me just do a quick count of how many we've got to go through. We have 28 to go through, which is quite a few. And I need to go to bed soon, so let's see how this goes. I'm going to go through these in chronological order, so following off from the last video, I think the last volume I read was Centuria, so the next volume I read after that was Mr. Villain's Day Off, volume 7. It is, I feel, a struggle to pick these up sometimes because of how thin they are, but I do really love them. I especially love the villain's love of pandas, because I too love pandas. Red pandas are my favourite animal. It's a very sweet series. There's nothing really too deep about it. If you think it's pleasant and you enjoy it, yeah, sure. But in terms of like an ongoing story, it's meant to be he's a villain and the villains are trying to take over the world. And then this group called the Rangers that are like fighting back. But predominantly we follow the villain having days off where he goes to like the zoo to see pandas or is trying the new ice cream at the corner shop. 7-Eleven, Combini, whatever. And sometimes he runs into the Rangers and they're like, not today, it's the day off. I personally prefer the little snippets where we surround this character, the big villain, over the ones with the Rangers, but there were some at the end regarding the Rangers in this volume that were super duper sweet. I do love the colours though, actually. The colours of these volumes are great. I'm going to do these together, not necessarily because they're like the same kind of story. There is a theme in which the male lead is a beast man. I actually have both of these on pre-order on Sci-Fi and they arrived together. I can't remember when they arrived, but I kind of forgot about them. I'd put them in a stack on that side of the room, so it'd be really easy for me to remember to read when it got to April and then forgot because they were not on the stack for the other things. Hey ho. Anywho, we have both. Actually, they're both volume 4, aren't they? Me and My Beast Boss volume 4 and With You My Love Will Make It Through volume 4. I love both the series. Me and My Beast Boss is like, I feel a bit of a harder read because they release a volume like every one a year, maybe even, actually I've got my spreadsheet, let's check. So I picked up volume 3 October 2024, which probably was going to be around the release date, so it has been a year and a half since the last volume. And they're quite a thin read considering like how long that is, which is unfortunate. Not necessarily to say the story is bad, I really enjoy it. I pre-ordered it, I don't pre-order very much. But when there's that big a gap and you don't get too much story, I feel like by the time you've gotten into it, you've already reached the end. I enjoyed the new character that was introduced and the relationship they've developed with our female lead here. I enjoyed the cliffhanger at the end as well. So I really do look forward to the next one. Is it going to be another year and a half? Am I not going to see this until like late 2027? With You Our Love Will Make It Through volume 4, we're facing more hurdles. There was a school festival and there is a slight possibility that their relationship might have been leaked. In a really gross way as well, a newspaper guy got a picture of them smooching on the roof and then leaked it, but he framed the picture as if he was assaulting her. It was not nice. And we're kind of dealing with the aftermath at the end of the volume, so we'll see what happens going forward with that. It'd be quite nice if we're able to see them as a couple like out as well, instead of trying to hide it. Interesting, this volume was plastic wrapped. However, I would say it's probably the most tamest volume in the series so far. I don't know if like they realised with this on it they should probably start plastic wrapping it or it's going to get steamier in later volumes, but yeah, this is the one they chose to start it on and there really isn't any steamy moments in this volume compared to the previous ones. Dead Rock volume 4, for whatever reason I thought there was like a hiatus on this series. I don't know why I thought that. It's the next series from the same guy that did Fairy Tail, Eden Zero. I read somewhere that there was a point that he was doing Dead Rock, Eden Zero, and helping out with Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest, and there might have been like a one shot or another one coming around. Absolutely insane. Does that guy not like stop at any point? We had some nice fighting scenes. There's this whole fighting thing where you can fight teachers going on at the moment, because there's always some form of fighting battle arc between everyone. It's not deep, but I'm kind of liking it. I feel like I'd recommend it if you're also a fan of Fairy Tail Eden Zero, but I wouldn't say it's outstanding on its own. But I also have a real big soft spot for magic series and like academia, magical academia, just all the magical academia. Ex-rank lover, my doting ex-boyfriend wants to make love to me again and again. It is a one-shot from Tokyo Pop, and it is smutty, and it is not plastic wrapped. I would say the title is a bit, what's the word, disappointing, because yeah, they used to date, but it's like 2 pages in and they're like, actually, let's give it another go. I don't feel like we should have broken up in the first place. And then that's kind of it. It's not really like a plot point or anything. It's then just a romance story, which I think disappointed me a bit. I think if you're gonna like call it that and that's gonna be like your trope, then like don't abandon it that quickly. I was gonna flip through to the end to like see where did it wrap up, but no, it's all just smart. It's just smart. Tease Me Harder, a sweet and kinky romance, volume 2. I read volume 1 over Christmas, and I think I can't remember when I talked about it. Basically, it sounds kinky. It says kinky, but like it's not really that smutty. I feel like it's more a story talking about consent than anything. She wants to be abused, treated inhuman, have her human rights taken away, I think is how she phrases it. He is uncertain, unsure, and is worried about hurting her and going too far, and is he all comfortable with it all? And it's just them talking about it all so far, really. They do technically bone in the first volume, but it mostly fades to black. You don't really see anything. I feel like you do see series that aren't plastic wrapped with a bit more in them. So I feel like the plastic wrap is probably more for like the BDSM end. In this story, we have a new character introduced, which is this character who works with him. And at first you're like, oh no, is it going to be like a possible second character vying for his interests? But not really. It turns out that she used to be a queen, I think is what she calls herself. I can't remember if there's some cliff notes in there, footnotes in there, that it's kind of similar to like a dominatrix. But she ended up quitting for reasons that they do talk about in the volume. And it kind of is suggesting that she might step in to try and help with the relationship. I don't get the impression she's going to step in to like take either one of them. I feel like if either of them is going to take away, it'd probably be her, which is interesting. It's an interesting story. It's an interesting story. I like how much of it is about communication and consent, considering the topic. One Piece 111, and I've not taken the sticker off yet. We have reached Elbaf. How do you pronounce it? Can I find somewhere that pronounces it? Elbaf. I'll call it Elbaf till told otherwise. So yeah, this volume is, we're leaving Egghead, we've got the journey over, and then we arrive at the Giants. Some interesting weirdness happened where some of the crew got captured for a moment, but that didn't last very long. They just punched through a wall and left. And then remember, I'm going to talk loads of spoilers, loads of spoilers, and then at the very end we had the most heartwarming, amazing bit ever, where Robin and Sol were reunited. After all these years, when did I first read volume 41? I think 41 is her backstory. Check the spreadsheet. So dates get a little whiffy the older back I go, but according to my spreadsheet, I read volume 41 in 2011. So that's 15 years ago, and they reunite. No, we didn't think he'd survived at first, and then he did. And it was just the most emotional reunion, and then you can see all the straw hats at the bottom as well. Well, some of them getting real emotional. I cried. I 100% cried because, Robin's backstory, having some joy back in her life. I'm really excited for this arc. I am hoping it's going to be really good. I am pretty good at avoiding One Piece spoilers, so I have no idea what's going to happen. I vaguely had heard like they're going to be going to the Giants, going to Elbaf, but that was it. I don't know anything else. It's also just so neat. We've hit 111. When I was looking at my spreadsheet earlier and I was trying to count how many volume 1s I'd read this month, I was just scrolling down and counting the ones in my recently read column, and I was like, oh no, there's a typo. And I was like, wait, no, that's just the One Piece volume. I thought I just hit the one button too many times, sorry. Can't believe I've already read it. I have to wait for the next one. Next, I have Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Volume 4. After my big Boruto binge back in November, this has grown on me quite a lot, and I'm quite excited when new volumes come out. I also forgot to take the sticker off. I picked these up in Coventry. I think I'm in a weird feeling with Boruto. Both Naruto and Boruto I've enjoyed a lot, doing a big old binge of volumes together, so I'm half tempted to keep picking them up and stop reading them for a while. But also I have no patience when I'm really excited for a series and I do it anyway. I enjoyed the whole my interrogation bit, and Shikamaru he's like, I don't really understand, but I'm gonna trust you. I think it's interesting which characters we're seeing a lot of from Naruto carried over. Like, I think we did see Sakura in this volume, but I don't think we've really seen her much at all. And I know there's the stuff with Sasuke and Naruto's, in a box somewhere. But it's weird that we've not really seen her, and I feel like other characters, maybe this is like the whole point, focusing on the next generation. But yeah. What do I do though? Do I keep reading or do I just hold off like I said I should do? Only I Know the World is Ending and Getting Killed by Rampaging Beasts Only Makes Me Stronger Volume 4. I still maintain that I don't think this is necessarily very good, but it does tick a lot of boxes of things that I quite like in stories. So yeah, the guy returns by death basically, and every time he dies he has memories of the incident and carries over his skills basically. In this scenario that he's currently in, he's managed to, I don't know how to phrase it, he's managed to bring her, this girl, well, the love interest basically, he's managed to attach her to his return by death. So if either one of them dies, they both get sent back to their checkpoint to the end of the last quest. Except she had quite a brutal murder, I think, in the last volume, and she is quite mentally scarred. So he is trying to sort out this current quest, which I think is defeating this werewolf, quickly without having to do it again, so she isn't mentally frayed. He does manage to do that, and we move on to the next thing, which is getting weird because this fantasy world is starting to merge with modern day Japan, and this seems to be turning into a dungeon. It is kind of episodic. So far the story has been, you have a quest to fight a big boss, and every time you die you go back to the start of that quest, and then as soon as you defeat the boss a new checkpoint is started, and now there's another new big boss. Again, I personally kind of like that, and seeing the skill points, but I would not really recommend it unless you're also very interested in that kind of story as well. In So Deep, It's Love Already. I've just realised my light is kind of reflecting on some of these. I hope covers have still been okay. I'll find out when I edit this. This is a high school romance. I thought it was super duper cute. I quite liked it. It hit right for me. This guy is really, really awkward around women. Every time he's near a girl, he blushes crazy hard, goes really red, and then is really embarrassed by it because people point it out. So mostly he walks around wearing a mask so it can't be seen, and then is like, I don't want girls talking to me, stay away. So everyone thinks he's like a right douchebag, but really he's just unable to control his face and is really embarrassed by it. In steps the female character who accidentally falls on him and catches him and is like, oh, you get embarrassed around being near a girl, okay. And then kind of becomes this friend. Though initially she's like, I'm gonna stan you. I'm gonna be your biggest fan. I'm gonna stan you, which is very odd at first, though we do delve into that further into the volume. She has had some heartbreak previously, so she tries to distance herself from the loving someone and stanning someone. Except later in the volume she's starting to realize that, okay, maybe I'm not stanning him, I'm just falling for him. And I think he's starting to feel the same way. So my hope is that they do start dating in the next few volumes, because he's been pretty dang cute to her and it's been really lovely, and I kind of want to see them as a couple because I think I'm going to pretty enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to more of this one, and I'm going to be staying up to date with this one. Ichi the Witch Volume 1, a very anticipated pickup. So I had technically already read some of the story. If you don't know, there is this group, organization, I don't know how you phrase it, who like acts as an interim between creators and publishers to do like reviews and stuff. And I got reached out to asking if I would join in on a campaign for this, except it was going to be through the app, through the Viz app, Shonen Jump, I can't remember which one it was, or both of them. And I needed to read some of it and then talk about it, and I did. I read it digitally. And I did really enjoy it. I think I'd only read like the first 3 or 4 chapters. Yeah, I'd read this much already, but I was quite excited. Again, I am a big fan of magic and magical series, fantasy. Yes, get me in on that. What I also really like is series kind of like It's Only I Know the World Is Ending, kind of fit that. I like stories where you have things to collect. And in this story, actually, do I still have my script? I wrote a script for the other one. It's not a very good script. Nope, I can't find it. Hey ho, we'll have to raw dog this. Okay, so basically the premise is there are these things called magics that have appeared in the world, and they're all like different types of magic, basically. And these witches hunt down magics to take on their ability. Do we have one here? Here we go. So this is one from midway through the volume. This is it's like a thunder wolf kind of thing. And yeah, their magic is like something to do with thunder. So what happens is these witches go around and beat up these magics and claim it for themselves. And you have all different types of magics. You have like water ones and teleportation ones. I don't know if I'm making this up. However, for whatever reason, only women have an aptitude for magic naturally. There are no male witches. Until along comes Ichi, who manages to semi-beat up a really powerful magic because he's like, no woman can beat me. Think like Eowyn, Lord of the Rings, no man can beat me, I am no man. Think that, but the other way around, and it's magic. So he kind of beats up this really aggressive magic and takes on its abilities and is somehow now a witch, and everyone's like, the magic's not fully dead. It like manifests as this like little blob on his shoulder that is trying to whisper wicked things and get him to do wicked things. But Ichi is too pure for that, I guess. And now he's accompanying witches to try and beat up magics, is kind of the premise. But we have different types of magics appearing, and that's my kind of thing. When I mean like collecting things, like different, like what's the type of magic we're gonna get in this arc now? That's what I enjoy. I also think the artist is the same person from Act Age. The artist, not the writer. The writer was a terrible person. The artist did nothing wrong. So it is nice to see them doing a nice new series. I'm not sure if they've done other ones, but they're on this one. Romelia War Chronicle. The Count's daughter rallies an army in the wake of mankind's victory. So I would say quite a common trope in stories is the hero's team, the hero's party go off, fight the Demon King, beat him up, they succeed, and then they kick out one of the male members of the party because, oh, they're just a weakling, they're holding them back, they're a terrible person. And then quite often the male will go off and build a really powerful harem to prove him wrong or something like that. In this one, it's kind of the same, except it is one of the women that gets kicked out of the party, and she is the one that was engaged to like the hero in the party. He was a prince, or is a prince. They were engaged. They beat up the Demon King, and then the rest of them turn around to her and is like, we don't need you in our party, get out. Also, I'm annulling our engagement. She's like, fine, okay, I have bigger fish to fry, because she is convinced, even though yes, the Demon King is defeated, his army is not. She believes the Demon King army will rise again, and that she needs to help prepare humanity for that. So she goes back home and it's been years since she's been home, and everyone's like, look at you, you're a bit more sullen, and she's like, yeah, kinda. Went off to like basically fight monsters for a few years. And then she says to her dad, I want to go and explore our lands. I can't remember how it's phrased. Region? Territory? Yeah, she wants to go out to some of the distant territory in her like dad's land. He's a duke or something. Because she believes that she can start building her own army there to prepare for the fight against the Demon King's army. She turns up and there are some soldiers there. They're not particularly like great, but they're okay. And she's like, we're going to turn you into a proper army and we're going to build this army up. And I'm going to pay you well for it. And then the rest of the volume is kind of her taking them around and like beating up some demons that have like attacking smaller villages around the region, territory place. I thought it was kind of interesting to see like it's a female lead in this kind of story. And again, not really much focus on the romance. It is like military, forming an army. I think something I struggled a bit with, I didn't think it was like, I felt it was a little dull and a bit rushed. We were like quickly jumping between battles and fights. We also had a lot of characters introduced. I'll show you the full, so this is like all of them. This is like all the soldiers. Now we don't talk to them all in the story. There's only about a half dozen that are introduced, but I feel like we are going to be working our way through all of them. And I found it a bit confusing because it was just like new character, new character, new character. And there was also like some sad bits, like someone got hurt. So it might be they just got hurt. But like, I don't really care at this point. I don't know who you are. So I haven't decided with this one. I'd definitely pick it up if I saw it in a sale section, but I'm not sure I'm going to rush to stay up to date with it yet. Loving Moon Dog Volume 5. I feel like I flip-flop with this series. I was starting to feel it was picking up, and then I got a bit more bored with this one. They are now dating. The pair of them are dating. I think they do the do in this volume. I can't remember. They do cut away. It's not a plastic wrapped steamship. You don't really see anything. Is it because he's a dog? Is this why we're doing the cutaway? Just because of that? We're starting to get a bunch of backstory of him as a child. I think like half of it, a chunk of that, is his backstory and some of the things he's gone through. I still personally think I'd have enjoyed it if we did and talked a lot more about the dog grooming. Found that interesting more than their relationship. I keep forgetting how long this one is. It is in the double digits at least, which, gosh, what is the plot? What is the plot? Also, they talk so much about breeding. Campfire Cooking, Another World of My Absurd Skill 3. It's just really cute and lovely. And I am enjoying the introduction of this deity. I can't remember if she's a deity or a goddess. Goddess who blesses Fenrir. And basically she sees all the neat snacks they're eating and sends him a dream or something, is like, you need to offer me some of these sweets and then I'll bless him. And he's like, okay, starts offering these sweets and she's like, cool, I'll start blessing you. And she makes demands for different types of sweets. In terms of like a slightly booby female character around the edges, I'm quite okay with that. She doesn't even actually spend time with them. She's like watching down on them from like, I assume the heavens or something, God town, whatever. I also really like the slime. The slime is great. The whole thing is great. It's just so cozy. And they just cooked it. It's so nice. It's so nice, but it's very thin. But I was so invested. I love it. But it's very thin. It's very thin. How I Met My Soulmate Volume 6. Before I get into the story, I think this might be one of the prettiest covers. I love this like pink blue combo, this gradient. Oh, I love this shade anyway, but this like great. Oh, we kind of conclude a lot of like storylines in this one. I'm not really sure where we're going to go too much next. The potential second guy has kind of been sorted. The brother in his relationship has been sorted. A lot of miscommunication has been communicated. And then at the end, like the main couple have decided to move in together. Maybe that's going to be the next steps, them living together. It's very cute. It's very nice. It's nice they're in college as well. Seeing adults, well, borderline adults. Get married so I can curse your firstborn and finally be free, Volume 1. I really like the cover on this one. I think her face is just really like bright and pops out. I really like it. I think when I filmed my whole video, I was like, oh, there's a cat. Oh no, she better not be the cat. And then I noticed the ears later. Yeah, she's the cat. Right, so basically, this cat was killed by one of the male lead's ancestors, and she was she was a god. Yeah, she was a god of fortune, and then turned into a vengeful god against her will, because she was offed by one of his ancestors. And to be able to change back to a god of fortune, she needs to curse 7 generations of the ancestor's family. The male lead is the 6th generation, so she only has 1 more to go before she can be a god of fortune again. Hence why she's keen for him to have a kid, basically, so she can then curse the kid and be done. Unfortunately, the guy manages to accidentally see her at some point, I don't know, at a temple or school or something, in human form, and felt it was love at first sight for him. So he is head over heels over the cat god and is like, I will marry and love no one but you. And she's like, for the love of God, no, you have to love someone else and have a child with someone else. Or you don't even have to love them, but you have to just have the child. And then it's just silly antics. There is a childhood friend next door, which is introduced like this. That she is in love with the male lead and he is not that bothered. He loves the cat girl. The cat girl's picked up on it and is trying to force the 2 of them together, and he's like, I'm not interested. Kind of the premise. There are some silly bits that are amusing. I think I'd get really annoyed quite quickly. I don't know how long it is. If it's really short, I'll pick it up in sale sections. Otherwise, I'll just hold off. I guess 5 volumes. Many of them seem to be about 5 volumes. The Fake Alchemist Volume 1, I can't believe, and I think there's still a couple more to go. I can't believe how many vaguely gross stories I read. I did not expect this one to be as gross as it was. I didn't really enjoy it. The premise is a guy's been isekai'd and he has alchemist abilities. He's like, I don't want to go fighting. So when he's presented with abilities you can have when you're isekai'd, he's like, well, I don't want to go fighting, I might get hurt, so I'll just choose the alchemist ones and I'll make potions and stuff. So he has some cheat skills, but he's struggling for manpower, so does the only thing that you seem to be able to do in isekai is when you need help, he goes to the slave shop. I don't know what you call them. Is there a word for where you keep slaves? Slave emporium? I don't know. And he buys her. He also, don't know how much detail to go into because it's really gross. There is an elf girl that has been mutilated and is barely alive, and he's like, I'll buy her too. And in his head he's like, I'm gonna fix her up and bring her back to health, nurse her back to health, whereas the slave people think that he's going to do other things with her. What I find quite disappointing is the alchemist stuff was actually kind of interesting. I kind of liked it, how his cheat skills work and the way they make potions and how he needs to sell it to make money and all that jazz was quite interesting, but it just felt like it was sullied with the incredibly depraved slavery sexualization. And she does technically get paid by him, which I feel is trying to alleviate some of that moral questionableness, but in my eyes it 100% does not. Especially the stuff with the elf girl. Oh, it's some weird savior comp. Oh, it's not nice. If anyone wants more context, I'm happy to go into it elsewhere, but I won't be in the video. Content warnings galore. I'm kind of surprised it wasn't plastic wrapped. Actually, no, they do fade away from... I just feel a bit ugh. Villainess stands the heroes, playing the antagonist to support her faves, volume 5. Yeah, it's an isekai, she's Villainess, and she has decided that the best thing to support the heroes is to act like a villainess so they get their character development. Honestly, I feel like this volume felt a bit like a segue volume. I don't feel like there was a huge amount of stuff happening. Some weirdness with one of the heroes' brothers and monsters coming through, and then they fought some of the monsters coming through, and then the brother ran away. Oh yeah, he does call her Miss Player, so she's now freaking out. Does he know? How does he know this? Does he know that I am this is a game and I am a player of the game? This is how she uses her saint powers, because she's technically one of the possible saints, and it's all about stanning her favorites with her glow sticks, and it's incredibly embarrassing. There is also quite a nice bit at the end where the vampire butler gets quite mad at her for not putting herself first ever, which did slightly redeem the volume for me. She did need a little smack around the face to like, you need to calm down. Also bonus couple of pages to try and sell you on the story. So usually with these we have a couple of pages at the back that kind of like show how this photo was taken, as if this was taken for a photo shoot, and you can see she has an eater bag with badges of him on it, and here we have her being like, finally got my eater bag, and he's like, I'm tired. And then the next page is, don't you want the real thing instead? And it's like, oh, that's basically what my face looked like reading it. I don't think it's one of the most outstanding Villainess titles out there, but I do enjoy it. Thunder 3 Volume 8, because there's too many numbers. I do really enjoy this. I went to go look when Volume 9 comes out. It turns out the series went on hiatus for just over a year and resumed in February of 2026. So I'm assuming we're not going to get another volume for, I don't know, a year maybe. It is a monthly series. The backgrounds are insanely detailed. I mean, look at that as a double page spread. That is crazy. Yeah, most of humanity seems to have been destroyed apart from Japan, and these like otherworlder chibi characters are now trying to beat their way through to find one of their sisters, as well as just stopping the aliens from causing too much death and destruction. I mean, it's a really fun read, but it does take about 10 minutes to read. That is an exaggeration. I do stop and smell the roses and look at the backgrounds because they are incredibly detailed, but they do not take too long to read. But I would still recommend it, unfortunately, which is very annoying, but maybe give it a bit because it looks like we're not going to have a volume 9 for a while. Let's Make a Harem in a Zombie World, volume 1. This was a plastic wrapped series volume, by the way. I'm going to say a couple of things, and I welcome and encourage judgment. So first off, I genuinely hate zombies. I absolutely hate them. I will refuse to watch movies. I will refuse to play games that involve zombies. If they're kind of cutesy, maybe. Or you can't really tell, maybe. For example, there are mobs in Final Fantasy XIV that are zombies. Some of them you can't really tell. Some of them are hyper creepy, like the 7.1 dungeon. Anywho, why did you buy a manga with zombies? Well, sometimes in manga I find zombies are like, even though it's part of the story, they don't really see them that much, if that makes sense. So I was like, maybe I can help, like, cope with that. Second off, it's a plastic wrapped. It's a ghost ship, and I was like, gotta try my ghost ship. Third, probably the worst reason, to be fair, look at this rainbow gradient. How neat is that rainbow gradient on the title? I think that looks stupendous. I love a gradient. A rainbow gradient is the best of the gradients. The last reason, which is probably the main reason, is I do try to pick up most kind of volume 1s to at least read and review and talk about, even if they're not necessarily for me. My hope with doing content like this is, even if I talk about a story that I don't like, I'd like to hope that I do talk about series in a way that, even if I've not enjoyed it, I might still express my thoughts in a way that it might appeal to someone. Maybe again, I'm just coping. Maybe it's just because it was plastic wrapped. But yeah, no, very zombie, lots of biting, lots of blood, lots of gore. It's very visible. The boning is visible as well. And the premise is there's this school festival going on, lots of kids, lots of people around. A guy is hanging around near his crush and his crush's friend, and the zombie breakout occurs, basically. He manages to accidentally escape with the crush's friend, and they like take refuge in this like cupboard. Turns out she's been bitten, and she's like, well, I don't want to die a virgin, so let's quickly bone. And for whatever reason, them boning, or him boning, her, whatever, seems to hold back the zombification. So now they're like just trying to get by and survive, and they have to keep boning so she doesn't turn into a zombie. Yeah, it is, yeah, lots of questionable other bits. Lots and lots of questionable other bits. I put some content warnings in my Storygraph review. Some of it though was like, it was so bad it was like almost funny, like when she was like, fill me with your disinfectant. Like what a way, like what a word to call that. disinfectant. Ugh. I mean, I get it in like the context. It's like holding the zombification at bay, but actually like read those words out. Yeah. Anywho, it's the same creator, I believe, as Witches of Adamus. Yep, it says on the back, which is actually another title which I have pretty much stopped picking up at the moment because I found it just a bit too gross. And I would put this in the same bucket as that one, to be fair. Next, oh, heavy. I did a couple of manhwa. We have From Knight to a Lady, and it is, ow, that didn't actually land very well. It's really heavy. Well, I feel like my manhwa volume's really heavy. I don't know, maybe I'm just weak. So this is volume 1, very kindly sent to me from Crossed Hearts. This is the second one they have out. The first one was Baroness Goes on Strike. I had some issues with how the first, with Baroness Goes on Strike, was, what's the word, put together. I think this one's definitely an improvement. I don't remember if I checked where the first one was made. I do think they were printed in different places, which apparently seems to have made a difference. This one is a lot more pliable, so it was easier to hold in my opinion. The plot is this character was a knight, appears to have been murdered, and is reborn as a lady a few years later, I think. So this character was fighting in a war for a country, and they've been reborn as a lady and nobility of the country that they were warring against. Their country lost. I don't really understand what happened to their country. I think it's gone. I assume been absorbed maybe. And they're basically trying to figure out what's happening. They're trying to adjust to a new body, which is weaker than their knight body. Trying to adjust to being, nobility in general and all that jazz, really. They've been, what's the word? They've been betrothed to someone, so they're trying to like figure out what's going on with that. There was a series of murders going on in town. They were trying to figure out what's going on with that. It seems like the character is trying to locate some of the people they knew in their past life as the knight. But at the moment, there's a lot of confusion and what is going on, what is happening. Yeah, I think it was okay. I don't think I'm like really into it yet. At first I thought this character was a guy, but no, they are a woman as well. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe I'll start to be a bit more interested once they like find some of the people they knew in their past life, figure out what's going on, what was happening, because I feel like I'm just a bit confused at the moment. But I'm happy to admit it's a me thing. I am a very easily confused person. I will say a couple of things about the volume. I still don't quite understand these journal pages at the end of chapters. I don't want to write on my books, and also the pages are glossy because the colour. Will the ink sit on that, or will it just smudge? And also, what are the water things for? Like, are you meant to fill these in? But they're already dark. How do you fill them in? It's just me being grumpy there. There is also, what's the word? Is this one? Flyout pages, where you can like pull them out. Is this not one? No, it is one. But this is one, like, they feel like they're oddly placed just in the middle of the volume. The first one I came across, which I think was this one, I thought it was just 2 pages stuck together, and I nearly ripped it, thinking, oh, I'll just unpull it, because sometimes that does happen. Every now and again you get some pages that are still like kind of stuck together, and you just have to loosen them a little. I thought that's what happened there. Nope, it was a flyout. And I think there's another one later on, earlier. There's 2, I think, in here. So I'll keep reading it and see if it picks up for me, because I am a big fan of fantasy romance. It's one of my favourite tropes, especially manhwa. I've been loving my manhwa. Level Up with the Gods, Volume 2. I really enjoyed Volume 1. It is like a stat dungeon sort of dealer-rooney. Probably is now technically an isekai. I think we've left Korea, I assume. So Volume 2 wraps up this tutorial, whatever is going on, where they're all sent to an island and are kind of expected to try and work together with other people who've made it through to beat up the boss on this island. Except this guy has experience of what happened before and is like just gaming the whole thing, and I'm just enjoying it so damn much. Seeing the like staff get really annoyed at him. It reminds me of Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. Just the annoyance. And we've just got lots of like stats and tables and people ranked on this one depending on how much they contribute to the boss. And then by the end of the volume we've completed that, we're out of the tutorial, we're into the tower, and we'll figure out what is going to happen next now. When I Became a Commoner, They Broke Off Our Engagement, Volume 6. I think I'm a bit surprised at how much more I've been enjoying this. I feel like I've gone up and down a few times with this, but I think I'm on the up for now. Basically, the characters have been swapped, and the one that has been sent back to live a commoner life has opened a restaurant bakery with a friend, teacher, can't remember. And the investor they had to back them to open the restaurant was the commoner girl's ex-fiance. It was the fiance she had when she was nobility. He is still very much fond of her. She's still very much fond of him. However, like common noble problems and all that jazz. But he's helped invest with the restaurant to get them like going. It's going very, very well. However, there is some people murmurings that the commoner and ex-fiance is spending too much time together, so they send the other girl who was a commoner and is now nobility to basically go and tell them off. And she comes across as a right terrible person who hates everyone and has forgotten her life as a commoner growing up. But then we do see another side to her where she's basically like, I have to protect them. If people think I don't mean it, they're going to get hurt. We need to come up with a plan to try and get the lives we want without hurting people. So I'm interested to see where it goes. I don't know how long this is going to be. I'm going to guess it's probably already got a light novel and the story is complete at a wild guess. These sort of stories too, in my experience. But I don't know if the manga's complete. I'll go and have a look. I'm hoping it's not going to be a crazy long series. I could see this hitting early double digits, and then I'd probably start to wean off a bit if it keeps going much longer than that. Ragnarok System as the Desperate Reincarnated Demon Lord and 7 Aggressive Maidens, Volume 1. It was a plastic wrap volume. Not overly much plastic wrap stuff in Volume 1 though. So there's a couple of points to this. First off, the characters are in college, which is very nice. Second off, they very explicitly do tell you that the sister is not blood related. And I'm like, you keep saying, you don't need to keep saying. I get it, you're trying to make it okay. It doesn't necessarily make it okay, but I get it. So the premise is there was a demon lord, a group of people went and beat him up, and now the world is doing better and they don't need these warriors anymore. So they've kind of just all gone back to living a regular life, and the guy who was like the shadow fighter or something is now just attending college. Black Flame Shadow Blaze is just attending college, and this like princess from some country or another turns up and is like, I've had a vision, because that's her powers apparently. I've had a vision and our child is going to defeat the demon king that's going to rise up again in like 15-20 years time or whatever. So we must now have a baby. And he is like, you what? So she's very desperately trying to get him to sleep with her so that they can have a child, so that they'll all be prepared to fight the Demon Lord. And then for whatever reason, loads of other women are trying to get him to sleep with them, even though she's like, it has to be me. If it's not our baby, it won't count. I don't really know. I'm kind of glad that adults. There's been a lot I've read recently, whether in high school, and I'm like, they're just children. They're just children. And I don't need any, well, actually they're legal. No, if you have to say that, it's gross. At least they're college, and we've got like some fighting in between while set in still modern day Japan. I was kind of enjoying it. I don't know. Maybe I'll pick up some in a sales section if I see them, because again, I feel it probably will be, but I'm not going to rush for more yet. Adabana Volume 2. This is a murder mystery. It's completed 3 volumes. We only have 1 more. I did almost question if I should put off reading 2 until 3 was out and I could read them back to back. I got really annoyed with Volume 1. Not the story, not the volume, but in the way that people were talking about it online. I only really saw people talking about it in the saying it was amazing, it was great and excellent, a good read and everyone should read it. And I didn't hear anyone talking about any potential content warnings. And some of them are quite explicit, and I would consider 100% the sort of thing that could make people uncomfortable or not happy to read. I wouldn't even say you had to necessarily be like, this is what happens in it, because I also kind of get it's story spoilers. However, to not have like any like advisory, you probably need to go and look it up. There was 100% lots of issues and concerns with it. I feel especially if you make content around reviewing, I think is not good. I have seen more people doing it and saying like, FYI, there are content warnings, please do look it up. And I'm very happy to see that because yeah, 100%. This is content warning galore. I think my story graph review, because I'm trying to be way better with putting content warnings on story graph because I want to point people in that direction if they so choose to want to be able to look. I was like, how many can I add? Turns out quite a few. Yeah, this volume was incredibly dire. It was a good read, but not a jolly read. So we're basically getting all the backstory leading up to around the girl that has been murdered. We're getting like what has gone wrong in her life, how she's been treated by the men in her life, which is appalling by all of them. She's been let down by everyone. Every system has done her terribly. And I just feel so bad for her reading this volume, seeing everything she's gone through. And I just want to give her a hug. I can't. She's been murdered. I look forward to seeing the conclusion to see what happened, but it's one of those, it's not a jolly read, but I do think it is a compelling read, which is a very different thing. And again, please, if you are in any sort of way concerned about content warnings, please go and look it up, you Storygraph, or anywhere else, please. It was plastic wrapped, but I think it has this, I think you can peel this off, but I don't want to. A Yuri love story that begins with getting dumped in a dream, volume 1. It is, as the title says, a GL, a Yuri title. It's not a very long volume, and the chapters are pretty dang short. They're quite episodic, and as the title says, it starts off with the blonde character having a dream where she was rejected by the blackhead character. And that's pretty much it. There isn't really any more rejecting. There is some more dreams, I think, later on. But basically, they're just a bit awkward. They both like each other and aren't good at communicating that. It's light-hearted, but nothing groundbreaking in my opinion. So again, I probably am not going to rush to pick up more of this just yet. Double the Trouble, Twice as Nice, Volume 2. What a luminous red volume. Yeah, the guy is like, I like the girl, I'm kind of in love with her, I'm gonna try and get her to convince her to see it, except she's 10 years older than him. She's 28, he's 18. She works for his family company and had previously been in a I don't know who the guy is. She'd been previously in a relationship with a guy who is also quite high up in the family. I can't remember what his relation is to him though. But he dumped her because it turns out he had a fiance and was two-timing on the fiance with her, but she didn't know and is quite like messed up and devastated by that. And he's like, I'm gonna treat you right. And she's like, this is weird. To make it extra weird, he has been given some weird drugs that has turned him into a child. And the only time he's not a child is when he's got this like necklace on that is like feeding him drugs through his skin, which kind of like just recently like made me think of Loving Moondog, where he like changes between a dog and a human based on like using the light on his necklace to shine a moon on the floor. Except his necklace, like wearing it makes him an adult, and not wearing it he is a child. And he's trying to figure out what drugs he has been given to make him a child to fix it. I still can't tell. It's quite a big age gap. And I still find it weird that some of the romantic development occurs while he's a child. I'm not sure I'm really into that. But I do otherwise, like if I can forget, I don't feel like she's a 28-year-old character. I feel like she is shown and depicted to be a lot younger than that, which I think makes it easier. Yeah, she's 28. Okay, maybe like the ex isn't actually related. He's just very high up in the company and is like on the table as a potential next CEO. So he's kind of against him, I guess. Yeah. The last volume that I read this evening is Please Look After the Dragon, Volume 1. I went in very blind, as I like to do with most stuff. I was a little worried at first that it was going to be a like weird romance, but I think they do manage to like stop that. Like they crush that pretty early on with like the first couple of pages. The guy is playing a game and it's like he's playing a game with the dragon and the dragon's like, I'll join you on your journey. I'll stand out like this, let me change. And then the dragon changes into this like booby dragon lady. and he gets really mad. He's like, why does all of the like creatures turn into humans? I hate humans. And yeah, okay. And then after that he's walking along and then he sees a dragon and he's like, please look after me. It turns out the dragon hasn't done very good as a dragon, has been kicked out. So now they're trying to do some training to be a better dragon and be better with magic until they can go back to Dragon Town or whatever. Dragon City. They have a city, I have decided. And it's just a lot of silly, I say episodic, but the story kind of runs between the chapters of him and the dragon just helping out the local community. So they like go and help at a local festival to help clean the statues and get some food prepared. The dragon ends up accidentally helping out with a grandma at their like food shop. I think, yeah, they turn up to get some onigiri and they're like, we want some grilled onigiri, and she's like, I'm not making that anymore because it's just too much effort. And he's like, me and the dragon will do it. But you can't, well, he doesn't say necessarily me and the dragon, me and my friend will do it, but you can't come and have a look. And the granny is like, okay, and then just comes in anyway, except the granny's really blind and thinks that it's just, the dragon is just like a big pale chubby friend. And is just like, good on you for being so accepting, and thinks it's just like, it's just him loving his friend regardless of their like shape or size or colour. And it's quite cute and silly, and it's just very light-hearted, cozy comedy, and I found it really slow at first. I feel until we got to the granny, like the setup, I found quite slow, and I was like, I'm not sure, I'm really struggling to get into this. But actually, after that, and we were like, we set up the dynamic, and we had all the characters coming along, also worked down the street at the same street as the granny. I got into it a lot more and I enjoyed it a lot, and I will now definitely be staying up to date with this, at least for now, and I'll see if I continue to enjoy it. And with that, we are done with week 2 of my April reading vlogs. Thank you so much for joining. I did so much reading and I've just really enjoyed it. I'm currently, I think, at bang on 50 reads, and it is, okay, now it is just the 15th because it's just gone past midnight. I absolutely want to see if I can try and hit 100 reads this month. I've never read that many in a month ever in my life, and I would be just really pleased with myself and manage it. I've also just really enjoyed my reads. I think I've gone through like trends. I feel like the first one, I read a lot of like cute romances, a lot of high school stuff. I feel like I've read a lot more degen stuff this time around. The one I've started reading but I haven't finished, so I've not talked about it, is also incredibly degen, and I'm like, ugh, why is he? But at least I can talk about it and share it with you and give you my thoughts and tell you if I think you should pick it up or if I'm going to keep picking it up. I'm kind of holding these in because otherwise it's going to all fall off my desk. Let me know in the comments if I've tempted you towards or away from any of these series, or if you've already read them. And remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my channel memberships, 99p a month for early access. I will be doing a lot more of these kind of review videos. I kind of like trying to do one a week. I think that's a nice amount, especially if I'm reading this much. It's taking me like an hour to talk about all of this, so I think that's a nice amount per week, but it does mean I'm going to end up with a lot more content because I have other videos to still do. But I should probably head off to bed now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have the most wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye!